Return visit to another one in Elgin that we usually go to every year. This is Evil Intentions. How was 2014?
Fantastic. That's the word I can use to describe it. I've always enjoyed Evil Intentions. I think it's a 5 chainsaw haunt. This year they had so many actors. It had that creepy feeling. That I actually was getting goosebumps in a couple of the rooms because it was just creepy. It had the high creepiness factor. Actors were great. I mean, they stayed in their stayed in character, and a lot of different types of people on stilts and people with really good makeup. People hanging and upside down, hanging above you. It was fantastic. This year, actually, I know in the past it's been a 5. This year, I can't give it a 5. I'm giving it a 6 because it was just excellent. I think it's going to be a contender for Hall of Fame for 2014. There were actors everywhere in there. I mean, they were all over. They were above you, below you. So, they kept making me jump because it just came out of nowhere. I had some just crawling on the floor I didn't see and jumped up. It was just fantastic how it was outstanding this year. More actors than ever than all the years we've been to it. More than ever, and just like jumping out at you everywhere. So, this, as far as the jumping factor, that was real high too. But this was outstanding this year.
Evil Intentions, that was a phenomenal experience. I think it was intense from the get-go. I walking in and even just waiting for the experience, the tension was palpable. You could just sense you were in this abandoned coffin factory right there that just had a built-in atmosphere to it. And I think the set design, I think once you entered, every room you went into was incredibly well thought out. And we had the benefit tonight of having many actors on hand, and they really made use of every single set piece. And I just think it was, like I say, everything was well thought out. The lighting varied from each set. The music was throughout, this pounding music, and it was just an intense experience. And I think the Satanic Room, for me, probably was the highlight. There were several highlights, but for me, that really stuck out. And just so far for the haunting season, that's been my favorite. Extremely well done. I'd love to go back. And I really can't think of a negative, truthfully. I think the tension was sustained throughout. So I think, without question, if I could give it higher than 5, I would. But I'll go 5 chainsaws.
All right.
Excellent last year, and they topped it this year into Hall of Fame status. My only advisor is there's many tight spaces to navigate through, so that might be, not right for some people, especially the claustrophobic. But there's amazing sets in the makeup and costumes on the actors. So this may end up being my favorite haunt of 2014.
Oh, and how many chainsaws?
6. This gets to verse
All right.
6.
All right, Evil Intentions this year. Evil Intentions has always been one of those haunts that gave me this creepy feeling on the back of my neck. Very, very few haunts do that. In fact, I don't even recall in all my almost 20 years of doing haunting things, I can't recall many that did that. Maybe 1 or 2 years ago. This one always gives me this prickling on the back of my neck like I want to get the heck out of there. Now, I have to say, this year that didn't happen, but that certainly doesn't mean that it wasn't good. Okay, it was outstanding this year. They upped the ante. They changed some of the rooms around, changed the intro when you walked in. The feeling in there is just gloom and doom and darkness, tinged with a little bit of humor, but there's always that feeling that someone's watching you, they're above you, they're behind you, they're going to sneak up behind you, and that's a really creepy feeling to have in a haunt, okay? Really good stuff in here. There was a girl last year who hung down from the rafters, and she had long hair, and her hair would brush against you. She was back again, except this time she was hanging where you could see her. She was upside down, and we had a group of 4 this time around. And when I saw her, I was first. Her hair was just hanging down, and her head was hanging upside down like this. When I passed her, the next person, she lowered herself a little more. Then the next person a little more. And then finally the next person, she was almost on the ground. That was cool. Clever, cool, great. There was a prison scene this time around where people were walking above us and they were reaching out of the prison bars at you, and then this girl, she was hanging there. Great stuff. There was a doll room where some of the dolls were alive and some weren't, and trying to figure out which ones were. Excellent, excellent. We applauded as we left that room. It was very well done. Mental hospital scenes, we're usually not crazy about that, but they were well done too. There's some sort of alien experimentation going on in the basement. These aliens with these long fingers, and one of them was standing by a projector and using his fingers on the wall, looked like a rabbit, and it was cool. There was a giant guy in white with a mouth in his stomach that opened and closed. I mean, come on, where do you see this stuff, right? And my another one of my favorite scenes. Again, we walked down this corridor, and there are these dolls, look like women hanging on walls in black dresses with long black hair, right? Well, of course, one of them's real, and she jumps out at you, which is outstanding. And then there's another one on a wire or a hook or something, and she comes flying at you. Okay, great stuff. And finally, I have to say the Satanic Room, which creeps me out every year. This year it didn't creep me out. Yay, plus for that. I didn't get creeped out. But it's still an awesome room, okay? They stepped it up. There's a girl in there, and she's on a wire, and she flies at you. She flies in different directions at you, back and forth, back and forth. Great stuff. And there are a lot of hooded figures, and you don't know which ones are real and which ones aren't. I'll just leave it to you to figure that one out. So this one's a contender for our Hall of Fame for 2014. Evil Intentions, really, really good. We're going 6 out of 5 for this one.